Hello students, once again let us discuss another topic, which is Islam and sexuality. Sexuality in Islam, this mean by sexuality I mean sexual behaviors and what Islam talks about them, how we have to handle ourselves in the situation of all forms of sexuality. The objective of this course, main objectives, is teaching of Islam. We are going to see the teaching of Islam on different areas like artificial insemination of human beings, what Islam talks about artificial insemination, and what the scientists have said about it. Then another topic will be cloning of human beings, family planning, contraceptives and abortion, male circumcision, modernity and sex revolution, sexuality, sexually transmitted diseases, and so on. What is then we're going to first talk about Islam and abortion. We all know the meaning of abortion, and the term abortion means to terminate a pregnancy. Simply to terminate a pregnancy. This is done through the removal of the fetus or embryo from the female's uterus, either chemically with pharmaceutical drugs or surgically. Some people can use hospitals to remove the unborn babies, or they can go to herbs, those traditional herbs, and do what they want to do. In developing countries, abortion are not carried out safely, resulting in over 20 million deaths each year. In the developing countries like Uganda, abortion is not done through using the professionals from the hospitals. They usually go to the traditional healers, they go to their grandparents, they use different herbs, and this has taken a lot of people, including the babies and the mothers. A notable verse of the Quran reads, this is chapter 17, verse 31. Chapter 17, verse 31. It's also found in chapter 5, verse 151. Chapter 5, verse 151. The same, those verses talk about the same. Allah says, do not kill your children for fear of poverty. We shall provide sustenance for them as well as for you. Verily, the killing of them is a great sin. We have terms here which we have to explain more. For instance, killing the children for fear of poverty. Look around and see the reasons why people abort. Why you should abort. Like I have 3 children, I don't want to add on because I cannot feed them. These are the only ones I want to have in life. You can imagine you are the fifth in the family. If your parents decided to give birth to only 3, you wouldn't have been around. They kill most reasons for killing or for abortion is for poverty, about poverty, and also luxury and whatever. So Allah says, we shall provide sustenance for them and for you. He's the one who provides sustenance for you and for those children whom you want to kill. before coming on earth. And Allah says, verily, the killing of them is a great sin. When Allah says a sin, that it is a sin, it has to be with a specific punishment. When you abort, there are some complications which have also been proven by the scientists. One, infection of the womb. Abortion leads to infection of the womb. Germs and bacteria enter from the vagina or cervix, may enter the uterus during abortion and cause an infection in the pelvic regions. So infection of the womb, whatever method they use, when they are not careful, germs and bacteria can enter your womb through the vagina or cervix. So it is dangerous. Also, some of the pregnancy remaining in the womb, especially when people use those unprofessional people to abort. There are some parts of the unborn baby which can remain in your womb and you never know, because the medicines they use, they break that fetus or the unborn baby into different parts. See how you kill your baby in your womb. The medicine break the uterus into different parts. Then the parts come out one by one. Another is continuation of the pregnancy. You may try to abort, some parts of the baby come out, and some important parts remain in you, and the pregnancy continue to grow. So you are going to give birth to a child, abnormal children, maybe the brain is not okay, and also the parts of her body or his body is not on. Also excessive bleeding, you have seen that. You go, you abort, and you don't stop bleeding, which can lead to your death. Damage of the womb, suppose the bacteria and whatever has attacked your womb. Also, some machines they use, they cannot, they can, some can touch some areas which are not supposed to be touched, and you damage your womb. Another one, women who have abortion are more likely to experience mental health problems than those who continue with their pregnancies. Sometimes it's psychological. You imagine the baby which has come out. Sometimes when you fail to get pregnant again, it can affect your brain, and you go mentally sick. Islam about abortion. Abortion in the Islamic world is only allowed when the mother's life is in danger. In Islam, you are allowed to abort when your life is in danger, and that can be seen by the professional doctors that when you continue with the pregnancy, you will die. So to prevent you from dying, it's allowed to take the baby out, and when you refuse to take it out and you die, that's suicide. It's bad. All schools of Muslim law accept that abortion is permitted only if continuing the pregnancy would put the mother's life in real danger. It should be stressed that abortion is only performed as the lesser of the two evils. So killing yourself is evil and killing the baby is evil, but which is lesser? Islam looks at the lesser. So when you get out the baby and you remain, you have other children to look after, and maybe in the future, Allah will give you other babies. But when you leave you to die and you leave the baby, sometimes we wonder who is going to look after this baby. That's why Islam allows to get the baby out and the mother stays. The mother has established duties, has responsibilities and relationships. A potential baby has not. In Islam, as with other faiths, some women urge that It is a woman's right to choose what she does with her own baby, but Islam does not allow that. Other points of view Muslims might offer is that the mother should not conveniently forget that her baby affects others, i.e., the unborn. I mean, I say that other points of view Muslims might offer is that the mother should not conveniently forget that her body affects others, i.e., the unborn child. The unborn child. The Quran says that on the judgment day, the infants will want to know why they were killed. وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ بِأَيِّ ذَنبٍ قُتِلَتْ. That's in Surah Takwir. Those who know Surah Takwir, help those who don't know. It is Surah Takwir. Let me look for it. It is Surah Takwir. Surah Takwir. Excuse me, please. I'm looking for Surah Takwir. It is chapter. This chapter, Surah Takwir. So Takwir is chapter 81. It's chapter 21, verse verse from verse 8 to verse 9. So chapter 81 from verse 8 to verse 9. That is, Allah says, those people who, the children who were aborted, will ask their Lord on the day of judgment that بِأَيِّ ذَنبٍ قُتِلَتْ. They will ask Allah to ask you the reason why you killed them. So it's not good to kill unborn babies, however much you want it. If you get pregnant, it's your problem, because when you get pregnant, it's not an accident. The accident is only that you have not got pregnant, because the expected results of doing whatever you do, your pattern is getting pregnant. So leave it to avoid that. We can see the importance of the mother overriding others in passage from the hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said, this is the saying of the Prophet: when we ask you evidence of provision, you can give us the evidence from the Quran, verse of the Quran, you do the quotings, and also you can use the sayings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and also the scientific evidences. The Prophet says in his hadith, a man came to the Prophet and asked, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and asked, who among all people is most worthy of my good company? The Prophet replied, your mother. The man asked, who next? The Prophet replied, your mother. He did that 3 times, and the 4th time the Prophet said, your father. So the mother is so important to stay, because those children who are still alive need their mother. So the unborn baby can be aborted and the mother stays. That is what I have managed to give you about Islam and abortion. It is like it is not allowed in Islam unless the life of the mother is in danger. Islam on artificial insemination of human beings. Islam on artificial insemination of human beings. This is the deposition of semen into female genital tract by means of instruments. Making someone pregnant using sperms but not through the usual way, which is sexual intercourse, but they use instruments to insert some sperms into you. The Quran, verse 23, chapter 23, verse 1 to 7, Allah says, "Successful indeed are the believers, those who abstain from sex except with their wives." What does this means? This means that the sperms which a woman should have is the sperms from her legal husband, not from other men. There is attendance of people who are called sperm donors. They go to sperm banks, they donate sperms and leave their picture there. When someone wants to be a single mother, does not want to be under a man, so girls are like that. They go to those sperm banks, especially in developed countries, and choose the faces of the people, their sperms, whom they want their sperms to be used, and they inseminate the sperms into their wombs. It's not accepted. We have two types here. One, sperm of a man inserted into his own wife. There is no problem in this because they are legal spouses. However, no illegal actions are allowed. And another type 2, stranger's sperm is inserted in the womb of someone's wife. This is not allowed. This type has three main defects. The type of inserting another person, a stranger's sperm into the womb of a woman has three main defects. One, from the ethical point of view, it encourages promiscuity in women, and slowly it attracts her to illegal license. She may continue doing other illegal intercourse. When someone decides to go and get sperm of a stranger inserted into her womb, it is the key to other illegal actions. As the woman hardened her heart to do that, her heart can also do other illegal things on the ethical point of view. From the social point of view, it shakes the foundation of the family, also causes destruction of family system and genealogy. When the child grows up, he does not know who the real father is. You just get the stranger's sperm, get inserted into your womb. Who is the father? What is the lineage of that particular child or children? When they grow up and they ask you about their father, what will you say? It can psychologically affect you and even the children. What if you lie to them and they learn that you just went to a sperm donor and you got pregnant and he or she is the result? So there is on the TV, there are some shows, opera shows, where I saw about more than 100 men and women asking for their parents, and they found out that those people they found out that they have only one father. The father is about to 20 or to 30 years, but he donated sperms to more than 60 or 90 women, and all those are his children. What are you going to do with those people? Another effect is that it affects the child's emotional and may become unruly. You know, children want their parents, their fathers. When they ask about their parents and you deceive them, they can become angry and fail to respect you as a mother. So it is not allowed. Effects on the side of the mother, effects of artificial insemination on the side of the father. They are here. One, hot lashes. Artificial insemination can cause hot lashes on your body. The another is mood swing, when you are used to get foreign sperms from the strangers, even when it's your husband. Sometimes you swing your moods. One, or it affects your psychological feelings and you swing your moods. Then nausea, headaches, or visual disturbances. Another is swollen and painful ovaries, because they use instruments. You don't know what happens, how clean the instruments are. Then you can get swollen and painful ovaries, signaling ovariation hyperstimulation syndromes. It's called OHSS. It is called ovaries ovarian hyperstimulation syndromes. Look for it if you want to understand it more. Another is the pelvic discomfort, breast tenderness, or bloating. And also complication at birth. Can get complication at birth, and also premature delivery, because the system is artificial, and the system is artificial and everything can something can go wrong. Then gestational diabetes, can get the gestational diabetes. That's what I have gathered about artificial insemination for a human being. Then cloning of human being. What is cloning? Cloning is the process of creating a copy of something. We have plant cloning, whereby you can get the neem tree, and you bring a neem stem, and you put maybe orange on it, that like the agriculturists do. That's cloning, but this is the cloning of human beings, not plants. They form different copies of you yourself. You are Nambiru, ani Mobiru Sophia or Nambiru Sophia. Then Osmaya Nambiru. We have about 5 Osmaya Nambirus of the same size, same everything. You can see this Nambiru looks like another Nambiru. That's the cloning. Getting copies, like a photocopying. You get the page, you start photocopying similar words, similar whatever. This is what we call cloning of people. Genetic cloning refers to the process of making an identical copy of the DNA of an organism. That's genetic cloning, a process of making an identical copy of the DNA of an organism. Human cloning is an organism that involves in replicating the DNA of that organism in a new organism that, as a result, has the same extract features and characteristics. Human cloning would mean recreating the person that is being cloned. You get someone, you use the DNA, the same DNA to produce the same different copies of that particular person. Islam does not allow that. Allah has created man in the best of forms and bestowed upon him the greatest honor. Allah created you in the best of forms and bestowed you upon you the greatest honor. Making copies of you, it does not respect your honor and the image in which Allah created you. Like Allah says in chapter 17, verse 70. Chapter 17, verse 70, Allah says, "And indeed, we have honored the children of Adam, and we have carried them on land and sea, and have provided them with an at lawful good things." Allah says, have provided them with lawful good things, and have preferred them above many of those whom we have created with a mighty preferment. So when you do the cloning, you are distorting the honor which Allah gave you and made you superior of other creatures. Allah has honored him, the human being, with reason and responsibility, and has made him vicegerent, the vicegerent on earth to populate and develop. He has honored man by giving him the message which suits his natural state. Indeed, it is that state itself, as Allah says in chapter 30, verse 30. The honor Allah gave you, you are far better than other creatures. There are others which walk on two legs, but they are not like you. You have the reasoning, you have the honor, you are the master of other creatures. Allah gave you the intelligence to see what's wrong, what's right. How do you duplicate yourself into different copies? In chapter 30, verse 30, Allah says, "So set you," Muhammad sallallahu I'm repeating the verse. So set you. He was talking to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and says, "So set you your face towards the religion of pure Islamic monotheism. Hanifa, meaning worshipping none but Allah alone. Allah's fitra. Fitratullah, Allah's fitra. Fitra means Allah's Islamic monotheism, with which He has created mankind. No change, let there be in the religion of Allah. Allah is Islamic monotheism. That is the straight religion, but most of men know not. Allah created us on the foundation which is He calls fitra. Our foundation is to worship Him alone, and we are not supposed to change anything He has created, including changing one's way of being. So this means that human cloning is not making copies of a human being is not allowed. The scientists have seen the effects of cloning. One, it affects lineage, marriage, inheritance, and other rulings of family matters. Lineage, for instance, you are one, like we have Haji, we have Sophie, we have Sumaya Nambiru. Your father has you, and you go and make 2 copies of 5 copies from you, or any copies from you. Who is the child of the parents? Who is the child of your parents? All those copies, the children of your father or you alone. So the lineage is also distorted. The marriage, you are a wife. There are many copies of you. Who is the wife to the husband? Inheritance and the rest. So that's an effect. Another effect of human cloning is cloning may cause long-term health effects, according to a study by the French scientists. Because you are just made like a photocopy. The photocopy cannot be exactly like the original copy. So you expect get diseases. You expect diseases from the clones, and you yourself from whom the copies were made. Also causes genetic damage to the clone, health risks to the mother, You can explain that. Psychological harm to the clone. It affects lineage because the clones do not have the parents. The one who made the clones is the father, the mother, the whatever, the relative. So it can cause some psychological effects to the clone. Who is going to marry the clone? And who is going to employ the clone? Maybe you are going to create a set of clones whereby they can marry from themselves, among themselves, and they can also get some jobs and other families. Another sexual point of discussion is family planning and contraceptives. In chapter 6, verse 151, Allah talks about that in chapter 6, verse 151. Chapter 17, verse 31, Allah says, do not kill your children for fear of want or poverty. You have seen that verse when you go in the on previous notes. You will see what we have discussed. You check and see those verses and killing the children, because Allah concludes those verses by saying, it's me to provide for you and for them. Don't kill them when they are not unborn. Don't kill them. Can be interpreted to suggest that all Muslims should trust in God to provide them with what they need instead of preventing pregnancy. Also read chapter 3, verse 6. And all those verses, you read them because I've sent you notes to your email. God creates and sustains life. You are not supposed to use contraception unless it is a medical suggestion, as we are going to see. Islam has forbidden celibacy. Islam has forbidden celibacy and monasticism. It has forbidden celibacy. Islam has forbidden celibacy, and contract and castration for sad purposes. You know castration? Just I can see it okulawa. You can translate in your own languages okulawa for human being. The Prophet ﷺ says, I pray and I sleep. I fast and I break my fast, and I marry women. Whoever turns away from my way of life is not from me. Celibacy means those people who do not get married, like the sisters and the fathers in other religions. Islam does not allow that, because the Prophet is our model whom we can copy. He says that I pray, I get married, so whoever gets away from my doings is not from my ummah. The Prophet also encourages marrying those women who are childbearing, and he says, marry the loving childbearing women, for I shall have the largest number among the prophets on the day of judgment. So this means you have to marry. In Islam, we are not supposed to practice the celibacy and whatever the Quran forbids them. You have to get married. The withdrawal method in family planning and contraceptives, you are preventing yourself from getting pregnant or getting the number of children you want, because you think that's family. In Islam, family planning is like planning for your family before giving birth to them. Get some business and some assets, some whatever, so that which can help you with your children, but not preventing yourself from getting pregnant. That is, in Islam, you have one method of maybe child spacing, especially when you are advised by the doctors. We call it coitus interruptus, which means the withdrawal method. And that withdrawal method should not be done oftenly because afterwards it can affect the brain of your husband. Because during his time, during his time of climax, in the sexual intercourse, it is his brain is too high, and you are forcing him to withdraw from you for not only one time but many times. It can cause problems to him. So the withdrawal method is mentioned repeatedly in numerous hadith, often depicting the Prophet expressing his approval. According to Jabir bin Abdullah, he says, we used to engage in azil. It is called azil, coitus interruptus, a form of contraceptives at the time when the Quran was being revealed, but was not the Prophet did not refuse them to do so, but you have to do it by care. Not every time you have to withdraw. So, because that's the climax time for your husband, and during that time they are so strong and whatever, forcing them to withdraw, it can cause problems. And also, it is not a guarantee because by the time you feel that he's going to ejaculate, some of these sperms have maybe have passed and penetrated your womb. So it's allowed, but not all the time. You have to use it with care. According to some Muslim scholars, people should plan for family even before having them. There are some situations where birth control is permitted in Islam, like medical advice. They can say that when you get pregnant again, you will die. We saw that mother should not die. Even instead the baby can be removed, but the mother should not die. So don't when you advise to use the contraceptives, because when you get pregnant, it can damage your baby, it can cause problems to your baby. Please allow that and follow the advice of the doctors. Proper Islamic upbringing of children. For instance, for you, every year you give birth to children. So what you have to do, and the baby is too young, 3 months you are pregnant, before another gets a year you are pregnant. So they made them. You can be advised to use contraceptives. However, it's not allowed if the decision to delay having children is widespread at the societal national level. Here, it has moved from being a permissible and natural matter to one that is impossible from without and will lead to the negative consequences. Because it is like so I have to use contraceptives. It's not Islam does not base on that. It bases on the way you space your children, but not the way you think and the society think. If the motive for delaying having children is fear for their provision and livelihood, it's not allowed. If the motive for delaying having children or ceasing to do so is to follow the cultural norms of non-Muslims and imitate them blindly out of admiration for their culture, and it's not allowed in Islam. So you have to be careful. You have to ask around before you dare use contraceptive, contraceptives. If the means of delaying having children is medicine or surgical procedure that will prevent from children altogether, so the woman is allowed the to use the family planning methods, the convenient methods. For Islam, children are gifts and blessings from Allah. In chapter 16, verse 72, chapter 16, verse 72, Allah says, and Allah has made for you spouses of your own kind, and has made for you from your wives sons and grandsons, and has bestowed upon you good provisions. That verse means that the children you get are gifts from God, and Allah can provide for them. Don't abort, don't do don't take contraceptives and prevent yourself from having children, and don't do it for spacing wh- uh, when it's not when it's not when you are not advised. So hence, Muslims should never abort or kill their children out of their fear or poverty. It is Allah who provides for them and for their children. And for their children. Islam about male circumcision. Allah's Prophet Sallallahu considered circumcision as a feature of the Prophet. Foundation, feature, ekintu ekyomu butonde. It is natural. The hadith from Abu Huraira, the Prophet said, five things are in the accordance with fitra, i.e., fitra means the tradition of the prophets. One, to be circumcised, to save their pelvic region, to pull out the hair of their armpits, to cut short the mustaches, and to clip the nails. All those things are the doings of the prophets, and we should do that. This means that when someone is not circumcised, and when someone converts to Islam and does not get circumcised, does not mean that he is not a Muslim. But he has to do that because it is one of the traditions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So circumcision is good. You see, even health-wise, the whole world is campaigning for circumcision and it's for free. So circumcision is part of cleanliness, and uh, the benefits of circumcision does not affect male sexual drive or functioning. It does not affect the sexual drive, but the act of cleanliness. When a man not circumcised, moisture can get trapped between his penis and the foreskin, which creates an ideal environment for bacteria to grow. You get those the uncircumcised sister brothers of yours, and you try to open that skin, you see the white substances inside them. So when the bacteria enters there, it can stay there and cause some problems for that boy. So help them by circumcising them. This means there is a high risk of infection, and it's easier to spread viruses to others. Removing the foreskin gets rid of the wet, warm, and dark environment that can sustain viruses such as HIV and other sexually transmitted infections such as syphilis, herpes, and others. Being circumcised reduces your female partner's risk of cervical cancer, because those bacteria you have in your foreskin can you can even infect your wife, and that infection can damage her her cervix, and attracts cervical cancer. Please, men, advise your brothers to get circumcised. By getting circumcised, you not only reduce your own HIV and STI risks, but your partners too. It can be difficult to keep uncircumcised pens fresh 100% of the time. Circumcision simplifies the task of keeping the pens clean and keeps you fresher, giving you more confidence. Some women, and also this is just a secret or something. Some women prefer circumcised penises due to personal preferences. Um, Date this lecture. Under this topic, we have undiscussed sections like sexually transmitted diseases, um, STD, and examples of STDs, modernity, sex revolution, Islam and masturbation. I'll add on that next time, inshallah. Because I see this clip is long, shall start from here when I open another clip.